Trauma manifests in many different ways. Sometimes it may look like we are withdrawing, but actually we're scraping together every part of safety we can to survive this current wave of paranoia, overwhelming emotions, voices, visions, dissociation.
Sometimes we despair that life is going on and we have little control. It goes round and round in circles of trauma responses, struggling through flashbacks, dissociation, isolation, and anxieties. Dredging through a life affected by trauma can be a hard slog, even harder when you try to be apparently competent. People might think we are doing okay, but inside, our thoughts are churning.
Using the art of photography, we want to create a story and share what life is like living with trauma from a fresh perspective. No more cliches. We want to share our creative skills to have a voice through storytelling and photography. This film visually illustrates from our own perspectives the reality of living with trauma.
I can't speak for everyone living with trauma, but I can share my experience of what it was like for me. One of the first words that I would use to describe it is frozen. Frozen through fear. Frozen when the memories and flashbacks strike. Frozen in time. Frozen in a mind that is of a much younger child, while my body and life is existing in an adult world. Frozen in an existence where I can see the people and the world around me moving on, advancing, growing up and succeeding, while my life has remained small and full of fear and struggle as I desperately try to find a way through and cling on to hope that it won't always feel this way. Like the swan on the lake, looking calm and serene, you can't see how much she has to work to stay afloat, or how dirty the water below is, or how strong the currents below really are, and how quickly they can pull you under. When that happens, when I feel like I am drowning, not just with the trauma, but of the feeling of not belonging in this world, I just want it all to stop, and often feel that my life isn't worth living. Sometimes myself and people who have similar struggles are met with negative judgments and misunderstandings when we have these experiences of intense emotions or self-destructive behaviours. Some people regard it as immature or attention-seeking, but for me, that couldn't be further from the truth. At those moments, I want nothing more than to disappear, stop the feelings and not be noticed. And those judgments hurt and add to the already high levels of emotional turmoil and self-hate that I experience. By slowly but surely creating and adding positive ripples to the water, appropriate treatment, understanding, time, and help to build confidence and add meaningful components to our lives, we can move from that frozen state to one where we can have a hopeful and fulfilling life. Yes, living with trauma and enduring mental illness is hard and a struggle to fully explain. And these words barely even scratch the surface. However, maybe they can help to just shed the slightest bit of understanding and potentially, more importantly, help to convey some hope that with the right approaches, there is hope and a much brighter path ahead for people living with mental illness.
Snowdrops have always felt like symbols of hope to me. After the cold and the dark of a winter that seemed like it would never end, snowdrops are the first to poke their heads up through seemingly barren land. The first signs that things are changing and spring is about to come. It felt like a cold, dark winter in my mind for a long time. It was difficult to believe there would ever be snowdrops on my recovery journey, but I found them eventually. Little indicators that things might change, that better days might come. My snowdrops sprouted up through support from a service who looked at me not as a label or a level of risk, but simply as me. A whole person with opinions and interests and hopes and dreams, all of which they nurtured within me. My snowdrops blossomed in abundance through peer support, both connecting and finding solace through people with similar experiences to me, and then through taking on a supportive role of my own, finding meaning and purpose to the winter of my past. I have high hopes that one day our understanding of trauma will shift in such a way that people's winters need not be so long, that their springtime arrives more quickly, that there are snowdrops everywhere we look, varied and abundant in the things that offer hope.
Trauma never leaves you. I've been living with trauma 50 years. My dementia actually makes it worse because one of the symptoms is my emotions are up and down like a yo-yo, and people don't seem to understand that people with dementia still have emotional feelings, and in fact they're probably heightened in many ways. I would like people to realize that trauma can last a lifetime. I've had people say to me, that happened 20 years ago, you should be over it by now. Even psychiatrists sometimes say that, and they certainly should understand that there could be triggers that bring back the trauma. So whether they have mental health problems or anything, we should be talked to as normal people. We don't want to be pitied or anything. We want to be talked to as normal. And our past lives will still be affecting us in good ways and bad ways. And we'll have our happy memories and our bad memories, but try and obviously concentrate on the happy memories.
The night can be lonely, frightening, and I can feel vulnerable. It's a time where I question life, my purpose. It's where the traumas fester. They become heightened and then come crashing down, ready to rise back up again. But when I'm confronted by a wave of colour rolling through the night, I am challenged. I didn't realise that these two things could coexist together. The powerful crashing waves of the darkest night meeting their match in the colour of an inexplicable night rainbow. All of a sudden I realised that the darkness has colours and textures. They're reflected in the radiance of the rainbow. Night traumas are still there. They rise and fall. But so too is the light of the rainbow, in all its colourful reassurance and comfort. I could paint with these colours and make it through the night. Art painted by a friend, Susan Card, titled Nightwave, the light shines brighter in the dark of night.
This is our everyday. This is what it's like to live with trauma. See us, take us as we come, take in the whole person. Fixating on a couple of difficult parts that you find uncomfortable skews your view of us, and you cannot be a positive influence in our lives. Can we join forces, finding fruitful solutions that value us all?
When we dare to ask for help, don't stigmatise us. Don't look at our labels and roll your eyes. We need some help, to be met with kindness and compassion, standing shoulder to shoulder in support. Work with us to live full and meaningful lives.
This is our traumatized manifesto.
See us, hear us, validate us.